At Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial, a hostile witness admits the order to release 125 million pesos in confidential funds came from Duterte herself. The prosecution presents an AI-generated image to represent the OVP's confidential funds, and the defense objects. Vice President Sara Duterte files a second perjury complaint against her alleged bagman and impeachment trial witness Ramil Madriaga. The Marcos administration proposes more than 10 billion pesos in confidential and intelligence funds for 2027, just a tad lower than this year's. And Filipina tennis star Eala is off to a strong start as she debuts at the Cincinnati Open. Witness and former OVP Special Disbursing Officer Gina Acosta tells the impeachment court the order to hand over confidential funds worth 125 million pesos to Vice President Sara Duterte's security officer came from Duterte herself. The prosecution argues the transaction facilitated by Acosta to Colonel Raymond Lachica violates the government's rules on the use of confidential funds.
Ang nagutos po sa akin na i-release ang pera na 125 M sa security officer na si Colonel Lachica ay si Ma'am Sara Duterte.
Acosta is the first to be identified as a hostile witness in the trial, meaning she displays open bias against the party that summoned her, that is, the prosecution. Acosta has worked with Duterte since 2016 and is still part of the OVP staff, although no longer the disbursing officer. When asked why she handed the money over to Lachica instead of disbursing it herself, Acosta says the joint circular that governs the use of confidential funds does not explicitly require her to go on the ground.
Ang pagpa-implement po ng various confidential activities in relation po sa confidential fund, Your Honor, ay saklaw po sa trabaho ng security officer, Your Honor. Kasi confidential po yun, Your Honor.
The 2015 joint circular states that confidential funds must be disbursed by the agency's disbursing officer. Acosta already named Duterte as the giver of the order to release the funds back in November 2024 at a committee probe of the House of Representatives. But the prosecution says her retelling on Monday holds more weight.
Tingin ko mas mahalaga kasi yung pong testimonya ni Ms. Acosta is subject to cross-examination. No? So ibig sabihin, kung ano man po yung magiging resulta po nito ay titignan ho natin bilang paglalahad po ng aktual na katotohanan.
Vice President Sara Duterte's defense team objects to the prosecution team's use of artificial intelligence to generate an image representing the OVP's 125 million peso confidential funds.
Of course, we had to object to that because we had to ask at least for the proper basis kung bakit AI yung ginagamit.
Defense lawyer Michael Poa says using the image was wrong because the impeachment court has no way of determining its accuracy. Private prosecutor Amando Ligutan presented the AI simulation during his direct examination of witness and former OVP Special Disbursing Officer Gina Acosta. He asked Acosta whether the 125 million pesos in cash she withdrew from the bank looked like the image. Defense lawyer Lyndon Miguel Baquel then asked Ligutan whether the image was AI-generated.
Is that, Your Honor, artificial intelligence? Is this AI?
Yes.
Generated?
Yes.
Despite their objection, Poa says the defense team understands why the prosecution used the image.
They wanted to give everyone, maybe not just people in court, but even the public, kung ano yung puntong gusto nilang marating.
Vice President Sara Duterte files another perjury complaint against her alleged bagman, Ramil Madriaga. This over Madriaga's supplemental affidavit from last April, which was used in the House of Representatives' clarificatory hearing on Duterte's impeachment. Madriaga is among the prosecution's key witnesses in the impeachment trial, now underway at the Senate. In the complaint, Duterte accuses Madriaga of, quote, malicious and deliberate falsehoods that have been used in the impeachment case against her. This is the second perjury complaint Duterte filed against Madriaga, following his earlier allegations of financial misconduct involving her office. Duterte filed the complaint with the Taguig City Prosecutor's Office, which has yet to decide whether it will proceed as a court case. The Marcos Jr. administration proposes 10.8 billion pesos in confidential and intelligence funds for 2027. This is 8.8% lower than this year's allocation, which was 11.8 billion pesos. Of the proposed 10.8 billion pesos for next year, some 4.4 billion pesos is for confidential funds, while 6.4 billion pesos is for intelligence funds. Intelligence funds are for expenses related to intelligence information gathering activities of uniformed personnel and intelligence practitioners that have a direct impact on national security. Confidential funds are for surveillance activities of civilian government agencies that are intended to support their mandate or operations. More than 51% or 2.25 billion pesos of the proposed confidential funds will be allocated for the Office of the President. It is followed by the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency with 500 million pesos, the Department of Justice with 364.9 million pesos, and the National Intelligence Coordinating Agency with 351 million pesos. Confidential funds have come under scrutiny since the Commission on Audit flagged how the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education used them under Sara Duterte. Filipina tennis star Alex Eala advances to the third round of the Cincinnati Open after a dominant win against Romania's Elena Gabriela Ruse. Eala leads 6-1, 6-0 in the round of 64 on Sunday, August 16, Manila time. Ruse then retires during the weather suspension midway through the second set. Eala thus levels her head-to-head record with Ruse to 1-1 after she lost their first WTA Tour encounter at the 2024 US Open. Up next for Eala in this already impressive Cincinnati debut is another tough test against American Amanda Anisimova. She will be Eala's 10th top 10 opponent of the year. And that's today's wrap. I'm JC Gutinga. Thank you for watching. Click the link below for the full story. For more updates, download the wRap.